It's been a while since I've cried. But this shit, oh man. The Mandalorian, chapter 16. I don't even know where to start with this one. Just a lot happens in this. There's a lot to talk about, lots of cool shit, but I feel like we just have to skip everything and talk about that ending. Obviously, we get to our point. They've gone on this daring mission. They found Moff's ship. They found the child. They fight. They defeat Moff. But the Dark Troopers are coming back. You know, they're badass. We saw how difficult they were to defeat when Mando took one on. You know, he used all his gizmos, and the only thing that worked in the end was his Beskar rod. Now they're all trapped in the main hangar. These Dark Troopers are punching through the wall. They're making their way in. And then you see an X-Wing fly by. Now, initially for me, I thought, okay, the New Republic have come to help. They know about this. Maybe Cara Dune let them on. But it's only one. I was expecting like you see one and then a whole fleet comes. No. Then you see it pull into the ship and I think, oh shit, maybe that's Ahsoka. You know, she's got herself an X-Wing. She's come to... I mean, that wouldn't really make much sense, but that's where my head went. And then you see a figure in a black cloak and I thought, oh shit. And then you see a green lightsaber and you think, oh shit. Now at this point I'm looking at the hilt. I'm trying to see whose hilt is that? Whose hilt? I'm wondering, is it this shit? Is it this? I'm seeing little bits. I'm seeing that rounded top, and I'm thinking, oh my god. And then I see the glove, and I'm like, that is Luke Skywalker. But even then, you can't be 100%. I'm pretty sure at this point. I said to my dad, I was like, holy shit, that's Luke Skywalker, isn't it? And he is just cutting down all of these Dark Troopers like they are nothing at all. Deflecting bullets, wiping them out, force pushing them, everything. And there's a little point where, you know, everyone else is in the hangar and they're watching it on like the CCTV monitor thing, and I can't remember which character says, but they say it's a Jedi, and you just see Moff Gideon's face drop, and it's because he knows who this Jedi is. He knows it is the guy that brought down the Empire. And if you weren't quite convinced just yet, with the last Dark Trooper, Luke just crushes him, internally combusts him, and he just fucking squeezes into nothing, and boom, dead. And I saw that, I was like, that is a Skywalker trait, because if you remember Revenge of the Sith, Darth Vader, when he finds out Padme's dead, he just freaks out and he squeezes every robot machine in the room and they all just internally combust. The doors open, and this is the moment of truth. You're waiting for him to drop his hood, and you're thinking, I was sort of thinking, is it going to be Sebastian Stan from, you know, the guy who plays Bucky, because they've always said he could play a young Luke Skywalker, you know, there's a bit of a resemblance there. But I was kind of hoping it wouldn't be that, because I thought it wouldn't sound the same, we'd know it wasn't Luke. But what they did was the de-aging tech, like you get in The Irishman, where they use Mark Hamill and they just de-age him, so it's his voice, it's his facial features and animations and stuff, and him speaking, but they just sort of CG the young Luke over his face. Now see that, my heart's pounding at this stage. I'm like, oh my god, this is fucking amazing. Holy shit, this is just, we've had enough fan service, but this is unbelievable. And Mando just sort of looks at him, and, you know, Grogu's looking at him, and Luke's saying, I've come for the child. Obviously, he's heard the calling from a few episodes back. He can sense him. He knows where he is. He's come to find him. He's come to save him. You know, and Mando says to him, he wants to stay with me, which is true. You know, they have this connection now, this father-son thing going on. You know, Luke says he's asking for your permission. So, you know, Mando picks up little Grogu and holds him, and they're just sort of looking at each other. And then this is where I'm starting to feel it, you know, you're feeling it in your stomach, you're feeling it behind your eyes and shit. And then little Grogu puts his hand on Mando's helmet, and I'm done. Tears everywhere. I can't even, it's not even one of the things, you know, you're watching something, you're just trying really hard to just hold it in. You can hold it in with this. I couldn't. It was just straight flowing out of me, just unreal. And then he takes his helmet off. He's got everyone in the room behind him. He's got Moff, he's got the other Mandos, he's got Fennec, he's got Cara Dune. You know, they've never seen his face before, and he doesn't care, he doesn't give a shit anymore. You know, this is the last time, supposedly, he's going to see the child. I hope to God it's not, but it could be. So he takes his helmet off, and then Grogu just sees Mando properly. And once again, Baby Yoda just puts his hand up, touches his face, and then it just got even worse for me. I was just like, oh my fucking god, I'm like sniffing and I'm wiping my fucking eyes on my dressing gown. I just couldn't handle it. And of course, he puts him on the ground so that he can go over to Luke. And then Grogu just holds onto his leg, looking up at him, and you know, Mando's just looking down, and this shit finished me. I couldn't believe it. It was the most wholesome, touching, probably beautiful thing I've ever seen on screen. I've never seen anything so touching on screen, I don't think. You know, I don't cry too often at TV shows and movies. You know, sometimes something will hit me and I'm feeling it a bit, but it won't quite get me teary-eyed or whatever. But this was just straight flowing, and I just couldn't handle it. You know, he walks over to Luke, and you know, they have like, you know, you get a nice little funny moment. You know, R2-D2's beeping around, he's so excited to see him. Luke says he's going to take care of him and train him, and you know, Mando doesn't really say anything after that. He just watches Grogu leave with Luke, and Luke gets in the elevator, the door shuts, and you see Mando's face, and then that's how it ends. Now, I never thought Star Wars would make me cry. It never has before. You know, I've enjoyed the movies. I found some of them touching. I've enjoyed the TV shows. I thought they were really good, really powerful, but this was just on a whole nother level. This is just the pinnacle of storytelling, especially in the Star Wars universe. The relationship that formed between Mando and Grogu over the 2 seasons, you know, because Mando's sort of like he starts off as this cold-hearted bounty hunter. You know, he's not really that bothered. He's quite alone. He's just trying to make his way in the universe. He's ruthless. And then he finds this thing that just gives him meaning. He gets really attached to it. And time again, they go through these adventures where he has to keep him safe. You know, a lot of the time it's funny, it's cutesy, you know, nothing super dangerous is at stake. But then in this season, everything really pumped up. You know, the last 4 episodes of this season were some of the best television I've ever seen. It's one of them I'm kind of lost for words. I don't really know what to talk about all that much. It's just, see what I mean? I don't know what to fucking say. That's the thing. I almost feel quite bad because I can't even talk about everything else that was great in this episode. You know, Boba was once again exceptional. It's so cool to have him in the show. All the other side characters were exceptional. You know, the budget, everything. It was just amazing. But we just have to talk about just the storytelling and the fact that it's brought everything. It's brought Star Wars back for people. Everyone was so disappointed by the sequels. You know, people didn't feel a love for them. People didn't really feel much of an attachment. This is what we've wanted this whole time. You know, with the sequels, everyone sort of thought, or me in particular as well, I thought, I don't really ever want to see anything that's set after episode 6, because it's just not going to do anything for me. You know, I don't want to know what stories there are to tell after that. But this was just so powerful, and it might even be the best Star Wars story out of anything, out of the movies, out of any of the TV shows. This was just on another level. Now, obviously people are theorizing about what's going to happen next, because I guess, you know, I'm assuming we're not going to be as lucky as to, you know, have the sequels become non-canon, as much as we'd love that, because I'd love to see an alternative story come out of this. But, you know, if we're following them still being canon, and this lining up with it, then we have to assume that, you know, Luke trains Grogu at his academy, and then obviously we know things go tits up because of Ben Solo, all that bullshit from The Last Jedi. You know, I think the best thing we can hope for, if they're keeping it, those things canon, is that, you know, we pick up maybe with Mando in 20 years, 30 years time, whenever, you know, how far there is between episode 7 and The Mandalorian, and we get Mando reunite with Grogu after the shit that happened at the you know, Jedi Academy. You know, it'd be bullshit if they just said, oh, your Grogu died, because, you know, with the sequels, they act like no one survived Luke's academy and everyone died there. That would be a terrible way for it to go. And, you know, seeing Luke in this, it kind of reminded everyone of what Luke was meant to be in the sequels. You know, I've seen a lot of people say, this is the Luke we wanted, not the one we got in episode 8 or 9. He was like very, very rare appearance in that trilogy anyway. But that was the Luke we wanted. That felt like real Luke Skywalker. That was what we always wanted. You know, him at full potential, him full of hope, him being so wise. That felt like Luke Skywalker right there. Everything we saw in the sequels did not. It was so out of character. And I feel like for the sake of continuity, for the sake of them to save Star Wars, and I'm not just saying this because I don't like the sequel trilogy, they genuinely need to make them non-canon and just wipe it off the fucking Star Wars timeline. Make that like an alternate reality or some shit, because I just don't like it. It doesn't work. It ruined everything great about, you know, the original trilogy and even the prequels and stuff. It just doesn't flow right. They ruin these characters. I think Disney learned a hard lesson from the sequels. They saw that you can't just slap a Star Wars title on a movie and make whatever you want and just assume it's going to go down well, because that's what they did. They made whatever they want. They gave these creators complete free roam of what they wanted to do, and it didn't work. But with The Mandalorian, they realized what people wanted was what they loved originally. Like, it's not all about bringing back old characters and nostalgia, you know, just for a bit of fan service. It's about making likable characters, but also incorporating it with, you know, certain elements from old Star Wars products. Like the prequel trilogy, you know, obviously it's new characters, it's, you know, it's a very different time period, but they still pulled from things from the original trilogy. You know, you had, you know, a young Obi-Wan. You had Vader when he was Anakin. You had a younger Yoda. You had all these, you know, elements, but they still brought in new characters. They still had a new story to tell. And that's what The Mandalorian did. You know, when it was first announced, I just sort of thought, oh, you know, it's just for the sake of, you know, it's just almost like an expansion pack for Star Wars. Like, we've heard about Mandalorians. We've seen little glimpses of them in TV shows and the movies. But now they're just making a series about it because it's, you know, it's something that hasn't been explored. Will it actually be any good? But then after that first episode, you know, you see what happens. You're not really sure where it's going. You think it's just going to be like a bounty hunter action-packed show. And then when he finds Grogu for the first time, and there's that, you know, that famous ending where he's like, you know, reaching down to his little pod, and then Baby Yoda's hand comes up. You think, okay, maybe this isn't what I expected. Maybe this is going to be something different. And it completely and totally was. This show just went high above expectations. It shocked everyone. I think everyone enjoyed it. Everyone loved it. I don't know a soul that didn't enjoy this ending. I mean, don't get me wrong, it upset me that he's been split from Grogu now, but I just have to hope they'll be reunited again, and I love The Mandalorian anyway. I mean, I think they're going to continue the show, but I'm wondering what sort of story they're going to tell, because it's just not going to be quite the same without Grogu. That's why I sort of feel it'd be cool if they picked it up a bit later when he gets reunited with him, if they keep in the sequels canon. But at the end of the day, we could theorise about what's going to come next, but I'm so happy with what we got. And it's by far one of the best television series I've ever seen, and it's possibly the best Star Wars product I've seen. I love the originals, I love the prequels, but this was just wow, you know. The fact it made me bawl my eyes out, I just think sort of says it all. It says that this is something special. I had no composure. I was just a mess for about the next half an hour last night. I just couldn't handle it. To give it a review, this final episode, it's an 11 out of 10. It's beyond the 10. It's 11. The show as a whole, 10 out of 10. You get some filler episodes, but it's a TV show at the end of the day, and you need that to space things out. You know, sometimes it sounds like I'm complaining about filler, but it's still enjoyable, as I've said before. You know, you get a filler episode, but you still have a good time with it. You know, you still get really cute moments with Grogu. You still get some fun action. You know, the quality of this show. And I just got to say thank you to Jon Favreau. Say thank you to Dave Filoni. Thank you to Pedro Pascal. You know, everyone involved with the show, everyone who made it, everyone who made this happen. It is a masterpiece. And it's one of them things, you know, when you watch something and you know it's going to be on your mind for a little while. That's what this is. It's going to take some time. I need to rewatch it. Just sort of, it was too much at once and it overpowered me. In terms of what next, obviously they tease that little cool Boba thing for next year, where he's now like Boba the Fett. He goes back to Tatooine. That was really cool. I thought, you know, it was just badass as shit. I love it. I love him and Fennec. I can't wait to see more of that. It's cool they're doing more of that. But right now, I don't really need any more Star Wars right now. I thought after this, I'd be just craving more. And of course, more Star Wars is great. But right now, I need to sit back, just let all that shit sink in, and then I'll be ready next year for whatever comes next. I want to say thank you to you guys for joining me along my Mandalorian reviews. If you've been watching them, it means a lot. If you've been leaving likes, comments, it means the world. It's been a hell of a series, and we'll be back with it one day, I hope. I will see y'all later.